back because I was watching. I could only watch one game at a time.
Welcome in latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter, and there is the cock-walking big Tennessee Homer, cousin Shane. How's it going, brother?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Oh man, the Aggies are in the comments saying we need to apologize to them. You can't win with these Aggies, Shane. They want us to pick against them. We do.
Yeah.
They win. They're saying, "What the hell? Eat your crow."
You can't win for losing, man. I tell you what a wild weekend, brother. What an absolute nutty weekend of college football. That's SEC, Mike. That's what we talked about coming into this season. This is going to be the wildest SEC season you've seen up to this date, and we had it, brother. We had controversy. We had upsets. We've had upset players, upset fans. I mean, but we also have rejoice. We've got redemption and teams coming back alive. So we're just 3 weeks into this thing, and it is absolutely nuts right now.
Yeah, and speaking of being on a heater, Shane, that's what I am over at my bookie. Don't forget, head on. I mean, if you want to nail your lock, all you got to do is listen to me, Shane, over at mybookie.ag today. Put in that promo code that. SEC, that's THAT SEC. They're going to match your initial deposit all the way up to $1,000. And if you're listening to cousin Shane over there, you be in the poorhouse because he just lost his MyBookie lock of the week. I've nailed it 2 weeks in a row. But man, like you said, what a great weekend, Shane. Tell us all about. It was the game. I think it's the game of the year at this point in time. Let's just start right there with LSU beating South Carolina. But before we get into the actual game, can you tell us so many photos I'm seeing of cousin Shane on the cock walk?
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I'm going to tell you what, that was a hell of an experience. I love the fandom. I love the fan interaction. I had some family with me as well, and it was just open arms. And I'm walking around with this big sign that says I'm an idiot, and I got one of 3 replies every time. One was, cousin Shane. Second was, oh, did you lose your fantasy football bet? That was a popular one. And then the third one was, no, you're not. So there was a lot of uplifting fans, prior to or before that football game. But awesome tailgate experience, man. If you've not been to South Carolina, if you've not been to Columbia, you're missing it. I love how flat it is for us fat walkers out there. Not a lot of hills over there. It was a little warm, but I do appreciate everybody that came up and gave me cold beers, Mike. I had food. I had everything I needed. Just unfortunately, the refs did not show the same grace when you went into that stadium. But yeah, it was an absolute wild event, and I would recommend it to anybody going to check that out.
Yeah. Cousin Danny says Jackson Arnold's been sacked 3 times since you started your story there, but we'll get into that. But yeah, so let's start with the game. I'm glad you said it, Shane, so I don't have to because I don't want to just keep repeating myself.
Yeah.
But congratulations to them LSU Tigers and them SEC referees. What the hell we doing here, Shane? But again, seriously, South Carolina did jump out to a 17-0 lead. It was a commanding lead. I thought they were going to blow the doors off LSU.
Yeah.
Everybody did at that point in time. So despite the bad calls, despite Lenora Sellers getting hurt, we got to give the due to them LSU Tigers, Shane, and shout out. I'm going to give him, I don't know what you think about this, Shane. I'm going to give Coach Brian Kelly SEC Coach of the Week. Because, again, it is so difficult to win on the road in this conference, being down 17-0. Everything's against you. Your offense not doing much, and their defense just firing on all cylinders. I believe they said I can't remember the exact statistic, Shane, but I think it's like 20. It's been like 25 years since LSU's come back from 17-0 in a conference game on the road, something crazy like that. So this give you an indication of how difficult of a task that was. And South Carolina's defense, even though they gave up 36 points, they were playing at an elite level. I think it was just LSU taking their game to an even better level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of surprised me they were able to find a running game. Durham, you're going to get to him here in a second, but that's a kid that nobody was talking about coming in this thing, and especially against that South Carolina front. Just a tough damn running back, man. It was good to see that for an LSU side, but yeah, on the South Carolina side, things were going good. I'm not saying you were worried, but I think you got a little cocky there and maybe took your foot off the gas. It doesn't hurt. You lost your quarterback halfway through this thing, but you pile that with a couple of bad calls. It was a back and forth game. I listened to Herb Street talk on this one, during the game. He was like, either you're going to be really happy you won, or you're going to be the other guy saying, I can't believe we missed that opportunity. So that's what it kind of felt like here.
Right. So let's just be clear. What was your thoughts on not one? I don't think I've ever seen two pick sixes taken off the board. The first one was a horse collar. I think you got to call. I guess you got to call that. You can't have. I don't know. I mean, it was borderline at best, but again, I'll give him that one. But what about the other one where Garrett Nussmeier got pushed? I mean, God forbid we push a quarterback, Shane, in the chest, not hitting the head, not laid out, nothing like that. But what was your thoughts on Garrett Nussmeier getting pushed?
Yeah, I think that was just a bunch of BS. Honestly, it's easy for us to watch a replay and say, what were you doing, ref? You know what I'm saying? And these kids are going 100 miles an hour, and the ref's got to make that decision. It's not an easy gig. So I don't want to just say the ref screwed the pooch here, but there are some times, and we're going to get it to some of these other plays. There was a targeting penalty. I think in the Florida game, that was just a bunch of BS. There's, we have instant replay for all this stuff, and I don't want to slow down the game or anything like that, but it does feel like some of these crucial penalties should be looked at and say, was that really a penalty? You know what I'm saying? So this one, especially the block, that one got me. I get how frustrated South Carolina is. Like, he wasn't going to get there. But if you really watch that was not a lower your head, just kill the quarterback kind of hit. This is just hitting Nussmeier, and Nussmeier fell down, boy. And boy, I'm not saying that he faked it or anything like that. Maybe it did hurt, but it looked a little soccer-esque, if you will, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard people say, you can't hit the quarterback. People are going to take your shot at the quarterback. I get all that, but I believe it was Kennard, the one that did it. I mean, he could have annihilated him.
Yeah.
He didn't. He pushed him. He literally pushed him. But again, we could talk about that all day. I mean, let's give some credit to LSU, Shane. Like you said, Caden Durham, freshman, 98 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Shout out Rocket, man. He got back to form, 143 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Carolina, again, they led the rushing battle, 284 to 144. 3 turnovers killed. The Sellers interception in the end zone. Those plays affect you early.
Yeah.
They're big at the time, but you don't realize at the end how big in a game like this could have been the difference in the outcome. So South Carolina's got a lot to clean up. Beamer meets with the media here on Sunday. I think it's a teleconference, so he's not really meeting with them, but has a phone conversation with the media. And let me read exactly what he said here, because I don't want to screw it up here, Shay. But he was asked about the officiating, and apparently Ray Tanner and Shane Beamer have called into the SEC officiating office to get an explanation. We're not going to seek comfort by telling ourselves that we were robbed. End of the day, we didn't do enough well to win this game. And then right after that, having said that, when you watch the tape, we're not blind. So he's saying, I'm not going to say we were robbed, but he's saying we were damn robbed. You know what?
Yeah. And I'm not saying that, South Carolina jumps into the top 25 here, Mike, after a loss, but this is a good football team. This is a football team, I guess myself included. There's a reason I had this damn sign down there in Columbia, Mike. This is a good program, and could be 3-0, should be 3-0 right now. So LSU getting a quality win like this on the road, I think you nailed it with the coach of the week, because down 17 points, there's a handful of coaches right now in this conference. There's no way they would have bounced back from that. So crucial win for LSU. Terrible loss for South Carolina.
And I got LSU's updated schedule up here. So we're 2-1. We're 1-0 in the SEC. We got UCLA at home and South Alabama coming up. So again, I think it's fair, and I was certainly among them, Shane. I was going all in on LSU when they're down 17-0.
Yeah,
and saying, "God, I tried to warn all you guys. This team's a joke. They're not that good." Yet again, come back down on the road, hostile. I mean, that place looked like a damn buzzsaw down there in Columbia.
Yeah.
Very few teams, I think, in this conference would have won down 17-0. So give credit where credit's due. But I'm seeing a path now here, Shane, where even as a big doubter of LSU, I'm looking at that win and I'm saying, man, that could be the catalyst to a huge season here. Could you buy it? Again, let's not give them the trophy immediately or anything,
right.
but could you sit here and say that was the defining moment that led to a playoff berth?
Yeah, because I saw growth. I didn't see that after the USC game into the Nichols. I saw a team that kind of even took a step back, took their foot off the gas a little bit. But in this South Carolina game, I felt like there was a wake-up call at some point here, a rally cry, if you will. And you look at Coach Kelly, the first 2 seasons he's been at LSU, both seasons he started out slow and then he started winning. And he took, year before last, this team to an SEC championship. Not saying that's going to happen this year, but you can certainly look at why this team is now coming out of this game with a positive vibe, because it's like, we've seen this. We've seen it 2 years in a row. Is LSU about to go on a heater here?
I think they could, Shane. Now, let's flip it the other side, though, because, again, South Carolina, tough loss. But,
yeah,
hell, they have impressed the hell out of me the last 2 weeks. Again, I don't want to keep reiterating it, but I think that game was basically stolen from them. But,
right.
I was asked last night, can South Carolina win 9 games? I think that is a reach at this point after losing that one. But, again, you got Akron, and then you got Ole Miss. Ole Miss looks pretty damn good. What's the outlook of South Carolina after this tough loss? Well,
I'm glad you have the Zips here. You talk about a team that needs to be in Columbia. That's a good get right game because it doesn't get easier, Mike. We've got Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma, A&M, but again, we looked at some of these teams a little bit different. We're going to get to Oklahoma here in a second. We've talked about A&M. We're going to get to Bama. It's like these teams are not as far away as we thought they would be week 1. I was afraid during the second part of the schedule that South Carolina was really going to disappear, but I saw a lot of fight. I saw a lot of grit in this team. This is a good ball club, and I feel like now they have an opportunity to ruin some seasons here, knock out some college football playoff teams. I'm not saying 9 wins off the board, but I do think that an 8-win, 7-win is very, very possible here.
Mm-hmm. But I would imagine that changes for you if Sellers is out for an extended period. I have no clue. I haven't seen any updates on how he's doing, but they're a different team with Robbie Ashford in there.
I do worry about that because this is not the first week he's gotten hurt. And what does this look like throughout the season? Is he going to be able to put together 12 football games? I don't think so, Mike. And so I do worry because there is a noticeable drop off when Robbie comes in.
James says the schedule makes me want to cry. Life in the SEC, you know what?
Absolutely, man.
All right, how about we got a lot of games to cover here, Shane. How about I thought always love to start with the SEC game. So let's go A&M going on the road, Shane.
Yes.
Beating them Florida Gators 33-20. And that final score is a little bit deceiving, Shane. I mean, A&M was up 33-7.
Yep.
Before Florida scored 2 late touchdowns. Here, A&M scored on their first 5 drives. Meanwhile, Florida's first 7 drives, Shane, punt, interception. They did score a touchdown, but then they went punt, interception. So that gives you an idea of how prepared one team was, how ill-prepared the other was in this matchup. And I'll go a step further, Shane. Again, if you didn't catch this, I'm sure most of you did, but A&M didn't even have their starting quarterback. Yeah. Marcel Reed found out right at warm-ups, hey, it's going to be your game here. Redshirt freshman, he played in the bowl game. Didn't even start that bowl game. He got rushed into duties. But I'm giving Marcel Reed Offensive Player of the Week honors, Shane. A lot of good performances this week, but being thrust in that position, almost like a must-win situation for the Aggies. 11 of 17, 178 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and then 83 rushing yards and another touchdown. A&M dominated this football game.
Yeah. Is he still employed? I haven't heard, even though I'm reporting down there outside his house. I've not seen the U-Haul yet. I heard trustees were meeting up today, and I didn't know if you followed up on that. But Mike, I don't want to just pile up on the Florida Gators because they're going to hear it. They know it. I mean, it was sad seeing Billy walk off this football field and fans waiting to boo him. Like literally, instead of going to their car and beating the traffic, no, they stuck around so they could boo this man as he went to the locker room. So that's where they're at. Hell, they're even cutting this game off, Mike. Did you see that?
It was worse than that. They have these promos with the coaches.
Yeah.
Where it's like drive sober or you'll pay a price or whatever. It was Billy Napier, and the fans are booing the drive sober. Not that, but the fact that Billy Napier was reading it during the game, they were booing that. But
sucks,
yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, how awful that. Now, there was a rain delay, so, I mean, that factors into it. But you're right. I mean, they didn't even show the end of the game because they were like, this is so uncompetitive. Let's flip on over to Georgia, Kentucky, which we'll get into in a minute. But everybody thought that was going to be a beatdown.
Yeah.
A lot of people, myself included, thought this was the toss-up game. This was the furthest thing from a toss-up game.
Mike, I think that's it. We talked about what could possibly be the greatest game this weekend, and this was the one that we were looking at, and you were right. We were wrong. Texas A&M looked really damn good. And I think as much as I like Connor.
Cousin Ken said, I booed that drive sober message.
Oh, man. And what was I saying? The Texas A&M here on that side, it's like, growth and progression. I'm seeing a team that looks night and day different than they did week one. If I believe, brother, I'm telling you right now, if they play Notre Dame next week, they're beating them by 3 scores. This program has taken that type of step in the right direction here. So A&M's is a program that should be feared moving forward.
Now, let me ask you this, though, Shane. Do you think what should we do at the quarterback position? We got Bowling Green. Yeah. A nice tune-up game at home before what could be a really tough matchup against Arkansas, and then the big one, Missouri, at home. Those are our next 3. Would you go back to Wigman? Would you stay with Reed? Would you play them both? I mean, this is going to be the first real tough decision of the Mike Elko era.
This is tough because we've seen both. I mean, Connor looked good the week before, But then again, you can't argue with what you saw there on the road in Gainesville, a team hungry with their back against the wall that couldn't afford to lose a football game, and he had full control of it. So I don't know, man. I think Reed brought something, a little spark to that side of the football, and I didn't feel like we were just playing keep away anymore. So I hate to say it, but I think Connor just lost a job, brother.
Man. You're firing people. You're kicking people out of the starting spots.
We've seen a prime example of it right here, Mike. We saw DJ Lagway come out here and have an awesome game last week. Right. And then we come out here with DJ Lag. Oh, wait, no. We came out with Mertz, didn't we? And then we played this carousel through the entire football game, and it was just frustrating, infuriating. I don't think that you can just have 1A, 1B. It's a tough decision, but it's a decision that needs to be made this week. Connor can't stay healthy, brother. I mean, how many years we got to see this? We've got a quarterback here that brought life to that offense. Why do you want to take the wind out of the sails? Because if Connor comes out here and fails the next week or two, we're going to put that blame on coach again. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of losing your job because of an injury, but I think, like I said, I think it happened this week.
Well, the only point that I would disagree with you there.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I guess Lagway did, but he had 2 turnovers. He had 1 touchdown. I mean, I don't think Graham Mertz or DJ Lagway cost us this football game.
No, they both look horrible.
What cost us this football game is the awful defense. Texas A&M had 310 rushing yards, Shane. And Florida had 3 turnovers. That's why they lost, and it's mostly this defense. I mean, there was a Florida punted it down to the 1 yard line. A&M went on a 99-yard play or a 99-yard drive that took up over 7 minutes right before half, punched it in. And the only time Florida did show signs of life in the second half, A&M come right back and scored like an 80-yard touchdown right off the bat to just silence all the momentum. So, I mean, I see what you're saying, but to me is the problem, just like it's been since Billy Napier got down there, is his defense. Yeah. I mean, Miami went up and down the field on them, A&M, which I would have been surprised if A&M got to 28 in this football game. They cruised to they basically took their foot off the gas with the backup quarterback and got to 33. I think defense is our biggest issue here in Florida.
Yeah, and you haven't even played your best offenses, man. I'm looking at Tennessee there. I'm looking at Texas, Ole Miss. I mean, golly. You remove Sanford, they've given up over 75 points in those 2 games. They're averaging a team with a pulse of 35 points per game. You can't do that and win because guess what? You don't have an offense to keep up. So, yeah, I'm really, really worried about that side. It seems like they go to the sideline. There's a new coach holding a play sheet. I don't even know what's going on that side. Again, I'm trying not to pile on the Florida Gators because they know exactly what's going on. They're flat tracking already. They're checking.
So let me go right there, Shay. So I got the schedule pulled up. Next game at Mississippi State. Then we got a bye, and then it's Central Florida at home. Then it's at Tennessee. Let's just assume. Because again, while you're sitting here saying it, I have to be like, I have to literally check and be like, all right, is Billy still the coach? Okay, he's still the coach. At what point are we? At what point is this coming to an end? If you had to look at this schedule, if you had to predict when Florida is getting rid of Billy Napier, and it's being widely reported, Mike Griffith I think was first. I've seen Chris Lowe report it, that the boosters have acquired the money to buy him out. And I don't think you get that kind of information unless it is want to be known,
No, I think earlier than later. I don't see a scenario here where Billy just catches fire. I mean, if you're talking this week alone, you're going to have somebody come in and take care of the Mississippi State UCF games. These are winnable games.
Right.
But it's also like momentum games. And do you want to give that little piece of momentum to Billy, which you're going to fire in the next week or two? Or are you going to give that to one of these, interim coaches and let some of these recruits that, hey, we're getting a guy, this guy, whatever, go ahead and get a head start in this thing. I don't know. I just feel like you got to rip the Band-Aid because right now it's just a laughing stock. The jokes that are coming out, all the talking media heads like myself, and I mean just anybody. You look out there, anything that they can do to make fun of Billy, that's what they're doing. But they're not just making fun of Billy; they're making fun of the Florida Gators here. And this is a prideful program, so I wouldn't waste my time. I'd get them out of here.
So you would have already fired them. But yeah. What is your prediction for when they'll actually do it?
Tomorrow. Yeah. I think we hear tomorrow.
It's too late.
You don't think?
They always fire them on a Sunday.
Well, that's still Sunday.
Because Monday you're already in game week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got a point there. Maybe later. Maybe after the show. Maybe they're doing it right now. I don't know.
That's why I have to keep checking here,
Yeah.
It could happen at any moment.
Did the dog make the groomer appointment today? Or, I mean,
So then we're saying Kiffin to the Swamp, right?
No. Well, I mean, that's what everybody's going to say. I don't think that happens. But
I mean, we might as well, for clicks and engagement, well, I'm just going to go along with everybody else. Kiffin to the Swamp.
Sure.
To hell with this playoff run he's about to go on. He's just going to abandon that. Or Florida's just going to not sign a recruiting class or any transfer players and then have him take over after. And all these players, if they're not going to be sitting on, like DJ Lagway, he ain't going to sit till after the transfer portal window and say, okay, who's the coach going to be? His ass is gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, but
So Saban. He's available.
He's available. He could just step right in, couldn't he? Urban Meyer, he ain't doing nothing. So, no, the coach is clearly on the staff, but they will not be on this staff by the time they hire the new coach at the end of the season.
Keep giggling, fools. I'm not exactly sure what that's in reference of, but I can take a guess here.
What if Billy does come out here and hangs like 60 on Mississippi State.
What if he loses all these games, but he beats Tennessee?
Shut up, Mike. Why you gotta say stuff like that? Huh? You know,
That's what I think is going to happen.
DJ finally figures it out. The game slows down in Neyland. Yeah.
All right, final SEC game. Shane, a lot of games here, but final SEC game. Man, what a rock fight here in Lexington. I mean, my goodness, Shane. Everybody thought that Georgia was just going to steamroll. This was Stephen Lassen's lock of the week.
Yeah.
I had it like 27-6. I thought that, I knew it would be close. I didn't think it would be 1 point close, but I'm trying not to overreact here, Shane. But look at it this way. And I'm surprised no one else is kind of seeing this, apparently, at this point in time. But we have seen Georgia in 2 meaningful games, and we have essentially seen about a quarter of quality defense, offense. Their defense is outstanding. We have seen about a quarter to a half of good offense in 2 meaningful games. Now, one of them's on the road. We think Kentucky's a very good defense, and Clemson, allegedly, good defense. But at what point are we getting concerned that we are lacking offense here in Athens?
Very. I that was what I asked myself. In fact, I was going to ask you, Mike, coming from this football game, are you more worried about Georgia's offense or frustrated with how things were handled in Kentucky? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying not to rain on the parade. I mean, it was good. Yeah. If we gave trophies away for close football games, by God, you got it this week, but there's a reason we punted this game to the third, because we didn't have the backbone to at least take a shot there at the end, Mike, and say what you want. The field goal team did great, but
yeah.
But the defense, Georgia's defense, did their job, man. They kept them out of the end zone here. So I'm not pissed off about Kirby Smart and this defense. I think they're going to win a lot, if not all, their football games still. But like you said, the offensive side, we've put Beck on a damn pedestal. He's coming here with turtlenecks at media days and driving all kinds of fancy cars. But I didn't see one fancy touchdown in this thing that said, you know what? He's a Heisman contender. I watched a lot of Heisman contenders play this weekend. I'm not feeling that with Georgia. And they have the players. They have the dudes around them. They have the offensive line to block for them.
Yeah.
It was very, very frustrating because I did not see life from that side. So I don't know if that answered your question, but yeah, I am worried about Georgia's offense right now.
Well, here's 2 things, Shane. You said a lot there.
Yeah.
I'm going to debut a new award. Should have been handing this out for a while. Worst coaching decision of the week. Mark Stoops, congratulations, buddy. Yeah, I mean, he had horrible coaching decisions in this game. Late in the game, you reference it, you punt the ball away. Yes, it was 4th and 8. Yes, that is incredibly difficult to achieve against this mighty Georgia defense. But you know what's also difficult, Shane? To punt the ball away to Carson Beck in this offense and expect to get the ball back, with just a couple minutes left in the game. Yet that was the decision made. And even worse, the one people are not talking about, Shane, at the end of the first half, Kentucky drives all the way down. They're at the 13. There's 9 seconds left. They are out of timeouts, but they're going to run a play. Georgia calls a timeout to line up their defense a little bit better. And then Mark Stoops strolls out with the damn field goal team. With 9 seconds left, again, you're at the 13-yard line. You have to run a play there. And
Yeah.
I get it. You get sacked, that's you're probably not getting anything. But you just tell your quarterback, you got a big, strong, fast quarterback. If they're coming, you just run out, throw it away, and we'll get this field goal. Yet Mark Stoops kicked a field goal, and there's no way in hell he could have known we were going to lose by 1. But these are the decisions, Shane, that kill you. An extra 4 points may have been the difference in this football game. So Mark Stoops, congratulations. I will give Special Teams Player of the Week to Alex Rayner, 4 of 4 on the field goals, a 55-yarder, a 51-yarder. So he was outstanding. But to answer your question, am I worried? I don't know if I'm quite worried.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw up Georgia. Here's where I think we're at with college football. And this is kind of why I love it, Shane. Everybody and their mother thought Kentucky was going to get destroyed after last week. Well, the Georgia players see that too.
Yeah.
And they probably went up there and said, "Oh, the coaches warned them all this, that, and the other." And Georgia is dealing with a lot of injuries. Tate Ratledge looked. I hope it's not serious. It looked pretty serious, but that really seemed to affect Georgia's offense as well. Mm-hmm. They got a number of guys banged up right now. They really need the bye week. But I think Georgia looks at it and they hear all the same stuff. 40-some-odd win streak. There's no way in hell Kentucky's going to. Not only are they not going to beat us, they're not going to challenge us.
Yeah,
I think that gets into their heads, and this typically happens with Kirby Smart teams. Remember, Mizzou's almost got him a couple times. He referenced this after the game last season. Auburn. I mean, these teams that have no business being in a ball game with Georgia, they tend to do it early in the season. So I think it's just going to be a wake up call. I don't think we're going to see Georgia look this poor on offense again, but they're going up against a really good defense next time out. They got 2 weeks to prepare, Shane, but it's on the road. It's at Alabama. They're probably looking ahead to that a little bit. But if they put up 13 points against Alabama, they're going to get their ass kicked.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Alabama's playing good, and we're going to get to them here in a second. But, I felt like Georgia needed this. It's kind of like what you said. They needed to get punched in the face. Everybody was watching it. Everybody was on the edge of their couch thinking that Kentucky's going to pull off an upset here. I hate it for the fans because, buddy, they were ready. They were ready to storm that field, tear that goalpost down. But sadly, they got to walk to the car because their coach doesn't have a backbone. How can you make bourbon and not? But you know what I'm saying? It feels like if you make bourbon, like you go for it. You know what I'm saying? You're going for it. You're a gambler. No. Nah, we should punt it. We should kick a field goal here.
We got to save our guys for Ohio, Shane.
Oh, they needed it. They needed a bounce back after that South Carolina shellacking, man. And unfortunately, they didn't get it. But I did walk away feeling a little better about this football team. I think Brock looks a little better. Obviously he's gonna get killed. He keeps playing like this. I don't know how. I honestly have no idea how he survived 3 weeks so far. But I do love this defense. This is a tough, gritty. I mean, you cannot run against this damn football team, brother. So there's some silver lining here as far as Kentucky. I don't think they're as bad as we thought they were after last week. But I do think that Georgia kind of needed this to wake up here.
Right. And I again, going back to the struggles, Carson Beck, what do you have? 160 yards.
Yeah.
No touchdowns. A prize picks selection, Shane. I was 4 or 5 on the prize picks. I told y'all. Carson Beck's going under. I didn't think it was going to be because they couldn't move the damn ball, but it happened nonetheless, Shane. So, again, Prize Picks, proud to be sponsored with them 4 years in a row. Head on over to Prize Picks, put in that promo code SEC. They're willing to give you, if you play a $5 a slip, they'll give you 50 immediately. This is daily fantasy sports, and I may not be able to pick a game. Besides my MyBookie lock of the week, so I'm 2-0. But I could pick a prize pick, Shade. 4 out of 5 this week. Yeah, and all you need is 2 winners.
Yeah.
And you got a winning card. You play 6, and you can win 25 times your money over at Prize Picks. You know what?
Go the opposite of me. I'm the Grim Reaper is back, I heard some say, you know what? Shane brought that unlucky shit to our stadium. I knew it.
Who are you going to curse next week, Shane? I hope it's not this team. How about this was a ranked matchup here on Saturday. Yep. What a game it was, Shane. Missouri 27, Boston College 21. And I'll be quite honest with you, Shane. I was impressed with this Boston College quarterback that they were hyping up, old Castellanos there. Got a couple busts here. Missouri actually got down. I think they were down 14-3 in this football game. They're saying, they've been reading their own press clippings up there. They've been listening to these 2 knuckleheads talk about how good they are. And all of a sudden, they're about to get pushed to the limit. But, Missouri's defense responded.
Yes.
I don't know why in the hell it takes so long to get Luther Burden going in the football game. But once we got him going, we dominated. Again, the score is deceiving. Boston College scored late to even get it to 6. So I think, much like Georgia, I think this is probably exactly what Drink wanted, to get tested, find out what your team's made of when you get in a hole. How will they respond? And they still got, a hell of an easy schedule here. Vanderbilt, which we'll get to them. Rest in peace, their season. A&M looks very tough, but UMass, Auburn. I mean, we can conceivably still go on a big time run. Have you seen anything from Missouri this week that would lead you to believe that they are not one of these top 10 teams?
No, I think this is the game that you needed. It was. I think Coach even said it after this. It was sloppy. It was a sloppy football game, but it was how they reacted. It was how they bounced back and being down. You know, I mean, you can, like you said, as you call your own press clippings or listen to us, the rat poison that's floating around. It's floating around, man. They talk about how easy a schedule is, and they're pissed off, man. Game day's not here. Top 25 matchup. You know, we're not getting the respect. That's Luther. That's what he said after the game. We're not getting the respect. Who cares, man? Just go. You get respect by winning football games and beating the shit out of teams that do come to your stadium. Don't worry. The accolades will show up. The rewards will be there. You just go out there, and I felt like that's what they needed. They needed to get punched in the mouth a little bit, wake up, kind of like Georgia. I just said with Kentucky here. This is a college football playoff team, and I think this is what they needed because the meat of this schedule is about to crank up.
Right, and they're still doing this, and Brady Cook is still not firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Now, he's scoring in different ways. He's rushing the ball very effectively. I've been impressed, Shane, with Missouri's rushing attack, too. They're really starting to get that thing going. I'm trying to look at the statistics right here, but I know, Nate Noel, 121. I mean, they had 181 rushing yards sack adjusted and only allowed 57 to a quarterback that they were claiming Kyler Murray 2.0 over here. I mean, they corralled. I mean, he was dangerous as hell back here because
he was.
He could just run around until someone got open. Like I said, I was very impressed with him. But once he had a fast start, they forced multiple turnovers. So again, I like what they got in the ground game. That's going to be huge in the SEC.
Yeah.
And if we can just get Brady to connect on some of these deep balls, then Missouri is exactly who we thought they were.
Well, we definitely need to avoid. Was that 2nd and 48? That's
I think it was 58.
58 was it that much? Yeah, you got to avoid those. But a lot of little dumb penalties. Like I said, a little sloppy at times. But one thing I did like, and that probably doesn't get enough, unless you watch the football game, was some of these third down conversions were crucial. To keep these drives alive. And
11 of 19 on third down. That's outstanding.
It's almost like you knew. It's like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 3. Doesn't matter. You know they're going to get a first down here. That's what I like to have with. That's one thing that Brady doesn't get enough respect for. He's probably not going to have a 90-yard bomb every football game, but he'll get you that damn 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 5. You know, even if he's got to tuck it and go himself. So I do like that. I like this defense. They really made Boston College one-dimensional here, and then when they did get pressure on the quarterback, it felt like there was about 16 defensive backs back there ready to pick off the bad pass that was heading their way. So all in all, a lot of good things came from this football game, but I do think that Mizzou needed a little tough football game to get ready for SEC play.
And where are we on the chef nickname, Shay? Does he have to score more than 2 touchdowns before we start calling him the chef?
Yeah, I think so, Mike. He's got to have one of those takeover games,
Okay.
And I feel like it's coming. It's coming. He's seasoning it up, if you will, right now.
Well, speaking of seasoning it up, Shay, that's exactly what we did up north. Oh, my Lord, Shade. What a blowout here. 42-10. Alabama takes care of business, represents the league in the naughty north up there. I mean, this was and this taken into consideration, Shane. Wisconsin looked like they wanted it a little bit more right out the gate. It was 3-0. I was thinking, uh-oh. The next thing you know, it's 28-3. Like Alabama just turned it on. Jalen Milroe, I mean, there was no stopping him, Shane. 5 touchdowns in this ball game, 12 of 17 for 196 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then 2 more with 75 rushing on the ground. This true freshman Ryan Williams continues to amaze. Yeah. And when Alabama plays like this was a little bit more how they looked in the opener. Maybe South Florida's just really damn good, and maybe they got Alabama's number figured out, but they completely outclassed Wisconsin here. Man,
I feel like Milroe's back. You know what I'm saying? And kind of like last year at that Texas A&M game, it was kind of like his coming out party.
Yeah.
This was it for me. This was me being sold because it wasn't just one guy. Even though Williams looked great, he found multiple guys open. His progression was there. The running game's there. One of the things that we don't talk about as much is his offensive line is back. They're healthy, and it felt like Alabama just had their way. The defense still tenacious. I feel like Bama. And it's funny coming from me, man. It feels like we're not talking about Bama as much as we should be. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've talked about the Georgia and how great Tennessee's doing and Ole Miss is doing, but it's like, what about the number 4 team in the nation right now that is just putting on – they're beating great football teams. And yes, was it close at times against, you look at USF and some of these – but I'm seeing some progression, man. In this game, start to finish, there was no doubt in my mind who was going to win it.
Well, let me ask you this then. Let's talk some Alabama then, Shane.
Yeah.
If Alabama plays up to their standard, but so does Georgia –
Yeah.
when they meet in 2 weeks in Tuscaloosa – who would you favor to win that football game?
Well, still Georgia, but I mean, it's not by
Last
much.
time we saw them, Alabama won.
I know.
And that wasn't even in Tuscaloosa.
I think my favorite tweet was after Kirby. I had it queued up that Kirby was on a 2-game losing streak if he lost to Kentucky here, because technically his last game was Bama. But I do feel like, Mike, that this game is. We got a bye week in between, so it's going to be a while before we're talking about it. But as much as I never thought this was the game to watch, when we started the season, I felt like Georgia was just going to steamroll Bama. But now that we're getting into this thing and what I've seen from both of these squads, this may be a preview of the SEC championship. This may be a preview of a national championship, the way Bama's playing right now. So, yeah, buckle up. We're getting to that game. I don't want to get the cart in front of the horse here, but, Mike, that's turning out to be a hell of a matchup.
Well, let's stick on it for a second here, Shane. Who does the bye week help? I know Georgia's really banged up.
Yeah.
I don't want to say got humbled, but maybe they got I'm sure Kirby will use this as motivation, this performance. But Alabama's in a first year of a coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine having 3 weeks of film and making all kind of adjustments, that's really going to help Alabama too. So who do you think the bye week helps more, as both Alabama and Georgia got 2 weeks to prepare for this showdown in Tuscaloosa?
I think the bye week helps Georgia more. I feel like you said, the health is the concern. Mm-hmm. And I feel like right now, I would maybe even favor Bama if these two teams were meeting. But coming off a bye week, depending on some health situations, maybe I'd go back to the Georgia. It's going to be a good football game either way. But I do think that them Bulldogs, especially on the offensive side, may need to get to the drawing board a little bit here and come up with a better game plan, because right now what they've been doing has not been working.
All right, last one, and then we can stop talking about Alabama. You said we ain't talking enough about them.
We always talk about Bama. Here we go.
It's a huge if here.
Yeah.
If Alabama wins by multiple scores over Georgia, I don't know if that's literally happened to Kirby since Ole Miss, his first year, whatever that was. If Alabama wins by multiple scores, would you say that Kalen DeBoer is a better coach than Kirby Smart?
Ooh. Yeah, because I think Georgia's more talented. I think, and I don't think Bama's far behind, but I felt like Alabama would give Georgia a fit year 2 of Kalen DeBoer. I felt like he needed to get a little love in the portal there, kind of not so much recruiting, but I just felt like kind of getting his system going was going to take a year. But apparently it just needs 3 weeks. 3 weeks and he's back. So I don't know, man. If he beats Kirby Smart, I would argue, I don't know. No, I don't want to say that's crazy talk. I think that maybe because it's more, when I look at coaching, Mike, it's not just about X's and O's. You know what I'm saying? If we talked about overall picture, what Kirby has done,
I'm just talking X's and O's. X's and
O's. Then that's what happened. He outcoached Kirby Smart.
Right. Okay. Cut it. That's the clip. No.
Is that it?
All right. How about this one, Shane? One team we're really not been talking enough about, It's because they were on the freaking CW. Ole Miss beats Wake Forest 40-6.
Jeez.
This was a hard one to watch, and I think it mostly because of the CW presentation. I mean, I just couldn't get into it. But Ole Miss did have 11 penalties. That was kind of holding them back. But it's not often. It's like I guess you count them Power 5, whatever. But it is Wake Forest. But it's on the road. It's kind of like ho hum.
Yeah.
You win by 34. You cover the spread by double digits here. This was my lock of the week here. This was such an easy call to me. But credit Ole Miss defense for really suffocating Wake Forest. But I don't know, thoughts on Ole Miss just waxing this old Wake team here.
Yeah, again, you were talking about not enough respect. That's going to be Ole Miss. I'm going to keep saying that until they play a team with a pulse. And not that Wake Forest.
Well, they got Georgia Southern next week.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Kentucky's now gotten a little bit more interesting, but I think it's going to be SEC play, Mike, before we really start diving into how good Ole Miss can be. Because, again, you're just basing it off of Furman, MTSU, now Wake Forest. I'm not saying that's not fair. It's not fair because I'm sure Lane didn't create this schedule, but it's one he's got to deal with, and one they go out here, they keep doing what they're doing. I do love the defense. The defense is not getting enough respect. Like out of all of them, giving up 9 points to anybody over 3 games is freaking impressive. They were suffocating. They held Wake Forest, I think, to a yard per rush attempt. I mean, it was just this defense is not getting enough love either. So yeah, I always think of that old Rodney Dangerfield. I don't give no respect. That's what Ole Miss is at right now. But just keep doing it, man. Just keep chugging along. These stats are going to look pretty when you're trying to win a Heisman later. But week 5, week 6, week 7 on, Ole Miss will have plenty of opportunities to let everybody know how good they are.
Right. And this is just Kiffin letting Florida know what an exciting brand of football he's got. You know what?
Yeah, he knows. Yeah. Are you not entertained?
All right. Well, hey, speaking of being entertained, I was entertained by this one, Shane. Had to rewatch, do a double take here. Texas, mighty Texas, Shane, beat the brakes off UTSA 56-7, and they did it with multiple quarterbacks because Quinn Ewers went down, did not return. But the good news, Shane, first reported by our buddy Anwar Richardson, Orange Bloods, Quinn is week to week after leaving the game with an oblique strain. So he could likely, I have no clue, so I shouldn't even guess here. But I would imagine based on that report, he could be fine for ULM. But I would imagine they'll likely sit him because they got this kid named Arch Manning who I almost made him SEC Offensive Player of the Week. But I said, no, I ain't going to do it, Shane. I ain't fallen into the trap where this young man comes in, first pass, 19-yard touchdown. First rush, 60-something yard touchdown. He was incredible. But, Texas continues to roll. And I don't want to say quarterback controversy, but I will say this is just quite the delight to have 2 quarterbacks of this caliber. You know what?
Yes, definitely not quarterback controversy, Mike. Yours is the guy that potentially wins the Heisman. Yours is the guy that helps you win or at least compete for an SEC championship and national championship. But yours is also the guy that can't stay healthy. He's also a guy that gets banged up periodically here, and it's nice to have a high caliber.
Hate Texas quarterbacks that get injured for some reason.
No, I just say
Wigman, Ewers. Who else could we throw out here? Jalen Milroe from Texas.
Wigman, I felt like lost his job.
Okay,
Ewers did not lose his job. I don't care. I've even saw lip reading. On the sideline with him and Matthew McConaughey. It's like, what did he say?
Let me ask you this, Shane: is it possible? And I don't think this is crazy. This is putting the cart in front of the horse. Is it possible that Quinn Ewers wins the Heisman? He was my front runner.
Yeah.
Heading into this week. And I'm not saying, because he's banged up, he's not anymore. But Quinn Ewers was my favorite to win the Heisman. Is it possible he wins the Heisman and Arch Manning is a better player than Quinn? And I'm not saying in 5 years, 10 years. I'm saying today. Is it better? Arch is even better, but Quinn wins the Heisman.
No, yours is that good. You know what I'm saying?
But Arch might be better.
He might be. Yeah.
Four touchdowns, Shane.
When I saw that run, I was
12
like,
attempts, 4 touchdowns.
We sure this is a Manning? You know? I mean, the only running I saw was naked bootlegs, you know? So this was, I mean, he is definitely the best athlete of that family. But no, again, Arch will get his time. And I just think instead of looking at it like a quarterback competition, look at it like quarterback luxury here. The fact that you can replace your quarterback with someone else and not miss a beat. So, yeah, I'm Texas, we're talking about it. Arch is good. He's good for the brand, but this is yours football team.
So I got the schedule up here, Shane. Predict the game Arch takes the job from Quinn.
ULM, because you're not going to rush him. I really would. I wouldn't mind seeing Manning just do that whole game. You know, don't rush yours back because there's going to be games you're going to need him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. All right, how about this one, Shane? This was people were buying into the BS. People love to hate. Not me, Shane. I told you it was going to be a blowout. Oklahoma 34, Tulane 19, and shout out. Defensive player of the week, Shane. R. Mason Thomas dominated late in the football game. 3 sacks, forced fumble recovery, and a pass breakup. And he essentially handed this game all by himself here. And this score is a little deceiving. Jackson Arnold threw a pick 6, which, you know, that actually gave Tulane a shot in this. I think it was 21-19 after that pick 6. But then Oklahoma really clinched up, and their defense is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And when they get the thing rolling, Jackson Arnold was rushing the football, very effective on the ground in this one. He was in particular. Deion Burks is I think he's going to be a nightmare, Shane, for Tennessee's secondary. We'll have all week to talk about that. But I think this is what you wanted to see from Oklahoma. Again, not flawless.
Yeah.
Because they had a long stretch where the offense was not good. But they dominated from the beginning. They dominated the end, and that's good enough for me.
Mike, it's a good football team. Tulane was a good football team, and if you watch this game, you realize that real quick. Yes, Oklahoma defense is legit. They have not done anything but amaze me. This is an SEC caliber defense, and I can't wait to see it, you know, against SEC opponents, which you're going to talk about here in a little bit. But that offense, brother. I mean, I get it. You're trying to get Jackson comfortable with the dinks and the dunks and all that stuff and the up tempo, but you hate 3 and outs. I love getting this running game going, but I'm still frustrated because there was times Jackson was running for his damn life. I do worry about that offensive front, man. And I don't know how many times we got to say it. It's like beating a dead horse here. But damn, you about had a dead quarterback because of how many hits he took. There's no reason Jackson should have that many rushing yards in this football game. And that's when I talk about the landscape of SEC football, there's a lot of athletes at quarterback. And I saw a little too much running from all of them. You know, we'll get to Nico here in a little bit, even though it was, 8 attempts or something like that. It's still 7 too many, I thought. I don't think that Jackson should have had this many attempts, this many yards against Tulane. Now, you look at Brock against Georgia, you're going against the number 1 team in the country. Yes, I get that. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel like running your quarterback should not, even though he's a great athlete, I felt like he shouldn't be your second leading rusher on the football team.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel you, especially when after 3 weeks we have seen his value to the team.
Yeah.
And I know they're hyping up the true freshman Hawkins, but you really want to go with him through the SEC season, a true freshman that's literally never started? I know I sure as hell don't.
No. The defense, like I said, though, defense saved them. They only gave up 13 points, not
right.
that interception wasn't their fault, but when they pinned their ears back, brother, it was fun. It was fun watching them get after the quarterback here.
And now College game day, Shane, officially headed to Norman, Oklahoma, Tennessee, at Oklahoma National Spotlight, Josh Heupel reunion tour. Can't wait for that. I'll be down there.
So when are you going? Are you going Friday? Because I didn't get to.
Yeah, Friday.
Okay.
That's the way you do these, Shane. You don't show up in the middle of the night
Mike,
and then show up a couple hours late.
You don't give me a hard time. I had to do it.
You go first thing Friday so you can spend all the time. And then what's great is this is a night game, unlike yours was so early. So we'll have all day Saturday. We'll get the night game and then leave first thing Sunday morning.
Are you going to put out like a itinerary, places you'll be and stuff like that?
No, because I'm not going to wear the poster board. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's true. I didn't know if there's some folks want to be out, have a cold beer with you or something like that.
I was hoping I was going to get on Feinbaum and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
They're going to be at UCLA at LSU. And I don't know if you saw what happened to UCLA. Did you have any idea what happened to UCLA last week?
No.
They lost by 30-some points at home. So, and they've already lost several games. So I don't know why in the hell they would go to that game.
Oh, that sucks. Man, that would be awesome. I wish I could get out there. That's going to be a great one. I've already heard the ribbing. A lot of Oklahoma shows already reaching out. You know, it's like Tennessee, Oklahoma, man. 10 years ago, coach was fired. Heupel was fired up there. I mean, it's going to be a fun one.
Yep. Well, you know where they're not having fun, though, Shane?
Where's that?
I mean, a couple places, but one they're really not having fun here, Shane. Oh, Lord. Holy Toledo, 41, Mississippi State, 17.
Golly, Mike.
How about this, Shane? I bet you had no idea of this statistic. Ohio State against the SEC since 2015, 0-3. Also located in that state, Toledo. Any idea Toledo's record against the SEC since 2015?
No idea.
2-1.
Okay.
So significantly better than Ohio State. But that's neither here nor there. Oh, man, this rebuild is far, far, far away.
Yeah.
And this was the state, unfortunately, I thought we were getting at. And I did, this is what I thought it would be, Shane, against Georgia and Texas. I thought we'd beat these teams. I can't even imagine. I don't know if it's going to be legal to televise these games. Because look at, Mississippi State, their schedule they got here, who they're going to be facing. I mean, that's their first conference. Well, they got Florida.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Good luck getting rid of tickets for Florida, Mississippi State. But then at Texas, at Georgia. I mean, this is going to be it's going to be so tough to watch, Shane. They didn't get a first down, Shane, until second quarter. It was 28-3 at one point, and our buddy Dave Bartu, CFB Matrix, the worst coaching grade in the SEC and second worst in the entire country belongs to Jeff Lebby at -2. The only guy worse so far is Mike Norvell, who's -3. So nothing going right for Mississippi State, and as bad as the offense is, the defense is twice as worse, and I haven't even brought them up yet.
Lifetime should be licking their chops getting this one, huh? CW now Lifetime because they're getting killed. No, I'm not saying that Mississippi State was an absolute train wreck, but you could see, I know, there was just some dumb, sloppy mistakes, penalties just galore. It felt like there was a flag thrown on every single positive yard, gained. But it was ugly, and I feel bad for them. But we're going to talk about another team here in a little bit too, Vanderbilt. It felt like now there's film out. You know what I'm saying? We know exactly what Lebby's going to try to do. We know exactly what Mississippi State's going to try to be. It was a lot of guesswork through the first couple of weeks, and it feels like now that there is that tape out there, it's getting harder and harder to kind of do what you want because the flaws, the problems that you have on that football team are being exposed.
I'm trying to see if there's StubHub. It's not as bad as I thought, Shane. It says $49 for a ticket to Florida, Mississippi State. That's about $40 more than I figured.
You probably get a shirt with that too, right? A souvenir cup,
You deserve a lot for going to that football game. I'll
One
tell
of
you
Billy's
that.
last signatures, I bet that's worth something.
Yeah, all right. So how about this one, Shane? This one, oh, God, this almost gave me a heart attack here because the worst I thought was coming here. Arkansas, though, did hold on, 37, UAB 27. And this was not really a fluke, Shane. UAB was up, I think, 17-3.
Yep.
This was, this was, I don't want to say back and forth, but this was kind of the bad Talon Green. I mean, a lot of passes were off the mark. Jaquindon Jackson still's awesome. He's in the conversation for all SEC. But the defense, big-time regression here. UAB is not a good team, yet they kind of look like it. I don't know if that's even fair, but more or less it kind of looked like Arkansas was going through the motions, which is what I was kind of afraid was going to happen.
Well, yes and no, Mike. I felt like similar to a couple of these teams that got punched in the mouth earlier, I felt like Arkansas did here too. They were expecting to just blow the doors off UAB and gave them a little fit, but I don't think there was ever a moment you were saying, hey, there's no way we can't get in this game. You know, if you would have been down 17 points last year with Enos back there calling plays, you might as well get out the door. Get to Hardee's before everybody else or wherever you're eating. The thing with me is I felt like there's just a moment when they can get 14 points in a turn, and that's exactly what happened here. So, yes, did Green make some terrible passes? Absolutely. Some wide open. I mean, the commentary didn't help either because they kept saying, I cannot believe he missed an open guy right there, But he did make some phenomenal throws on the run. I think he's found his favorite receiver now. I don't know, man. This offense is going to be in a lot of football games this year. The defense took a big step back. That was my biggest takeaway. When I put the score predictions, there was a lot of people saying 20 points. I said that they'd have 20 points against, and they were just looked at me like I got three damn heads. But, buddy, Arkansas defense, they did not have their best game at all here. And thank God Green bailed them out. Yeah,
UAB quarterback Lord Zenu, 235 pass, 3 touchdowns, though, for old Zenu here. That was That was troublesome, given who we've got upcoming here.
Can you
on
pull
the
up
schedule?
Can you pull up their schedule again?
Yeah, so we're on the road next week at Auburn. Big game there. That could be a season-defining type game before going A&M neutral site and then Tennessee and LSU both at home.
Over under 100 points scored in that Tennessee game.
Over under.
Both of them, yeah. I don't know, man. It's going to be. I don't know. I'm looking at this schedule. I know they're getting a bad look, but Auburn's winnable. A&M's winnable. Tennessee will be a fun game. I'm still not giving up on them Hogs, Mike.
Okay, well,
I can't believe we're an hour in. We're just now talking about potential top 25 Arkansas here. Jeez Louise.
Potential top 25.
I know. Maybe
FCS? All right. How about but you mentioned it just a moment ago, Shane. This broke my heart here. This was the story of the year in college football. Georgia State beats Vanderbilt 36-32 and really outclassed them for virtually the entire game. Vanderbilt actually took the lead with 1:15 left. Just had to stop Georgia State from going the length of the field, and that's exactly what Georgia State did. And I mean, I don't know. I had to. I don't recommend this, Shane, but this is just what I was forced to do.
Yeah,
because I don't have ESPN Plus. But I found, and again, I don't recommend this, but this is what I did. I found a illegal stream to watch this game, and I don't know if it was just the stream I was watching or what, but they had like a camera vantage of some fans.
Yeah.
And they would show the same 2 Georgia State fans, and then they'd show the same 2 Vanderbilt fans. I think there was only 4 fans at this damn game is what I'm trying to get at here. But it was not a pretty game.
No,
here.
that was actual camera work. I think they had 3 cameras at that game. One pointing at the 2 Vandy fans, one at the Georgia State, because I kept seeing those. And I ponied up. I paid the $9.99. Geez, you tightwad. And got just for this game. I was like, why can't I get this? And I finally figured it out. And I'd love to say I watched the whole thing from start to finish. I didn't, Mike. I'm not going to lie to you. But I did from the second half because it was a back and forth game. It was actually very, very entertaining. But what I didn't like, man, is Coach Lee took over this defense, and he's been coaching phenomenal up to this point. But it felt like during big stops, third downs, red zones, there was no big plays to be had. It's like you almost knew Georgia State was going to score. Even in that last, I was like, maybe they left enough time for Diego to have an opportunity here, and unfortunately they didn't.
And why it's so sad, I mean, we knew this was going to come to an end at some point, Shane, but to me, I don't see any path now to making a bowl for Vanderbilt, because that, hopefully we'll beat Ball State, but then we have to pull off 3 SEC wins, and it just, I don't see it.
The dream season has come to an end. Georgia State has ruined yet another Tennessee ball club. If you've learned anything, do not schedule these bastards. Jeez. Or definitely don't go to their place. Yeah.
I didn't even know they had a stadium, Shane.
I didn't either.
Well, I know where they...
I still don't. The camera angles did not provide that, so I don't know.
I know where they do got one, Shane, and that's the Blades here. Hank Brown took control through 4 touchdowns. How about a new quarterback? 235 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's the crucial part. We finally got Jarquez Hunter going, 152 rushing yards. How about this stat, Shane? I had no idea. This was the first ever time Jarquez Hunter had 20 attempts in a football game. As long as he's been down there, we've not been feeding this beast down here. And this is what happened. Now, our defense was iffy in this game, to put it kindly, but we took care of business. It was a rainstorm. This is much like LSU. Of course, this is much different than being down 17 on the road in the SEC and coming back. But I have a feeling this could be the start of an epic Auburn turnaround. Are you buying that?
Yeah, I kind of am, because of quarterback play here, man. I saw a sign of life, and honestly, Auburn's got a good football team. They got great players, and it just felt like we weren't getting those stars, the football. And Hunter is not just the only one here, so I don't know. It felt like they finally took 2 steps forward. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just hope they don't take 1 step back next week against Arkansas.
Yeah, but again, I mean, we got to clean it up on defense.
Yeah.
Because New Mexico's not good, and they were moving the ball at will. Now, to Auburn's credit, they were forcing them to field goals.
Yeah.
Anytime I watch one of these games, and these stupid coaches, like Mark Stoops, who's kicking field goals against an elite team here that you're trying to beat, and not to say that Auburn is on Georgia's caliber, but if you're New Mexico, if you're trying to pull off that upset, field goals is just simply not going to get it done. But, hey, again, the defense bowed up. That's what we had to do on the Plains. Give us some momentum. We could not afford to lose this game. Otherwise, the season could have been in tatters here. But we rebounded nicely, and now we get into conference play, and that's going to be one of the best games of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be very, very good football game. Maybe a kind of coin toss game, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Well, where it wasn't a coin toss, Shane. Tennessee beats Kent State 71-0, Shane.
Jeez.
Most points Tennessee has ever scored in a quarter. They scored 37 in the first quarter. Most points in a half by an FBS team in the last 20 years. This was the most points Tennessee has scored since 1937, and the most yards gained since 1937 for Tennessee. And they basically only played a half of football because they took everybody out and just ran it. You know what?
Yeah. Well, and I think the biggest thing to come from this one was the onside kick at 30-0. You know, I got tagged like multiple times saying, "Come get your boy, Heupel's an asshole," yada, yada, yada. But I don't know, whatever. I felt like it was game script. You know, even the onside kick, if you look at it, they literally had nobody there. And maybe you've got to say, well, if this happens in the future, can we get an onside kick here? So it is something they put on tape. It is something now teams are going to have to, take 20 to 30 minutes to be ready for a potential onside kick here with the Tennessee Vols. That's what you want to be. Now, I was a little curious at that moment because I thought maybe I was simply Googling, how does this guy know Josh Heupel? Did he date his wife or something at one point? Or did they cross paths somewhere? Did they play against each other? Because they're both, they both played football. But I couldn't find anything that explained it. But at halftime, they did say they asked Kent State if they wanted to shorten the quarters or keep a running clock, and of course they said no. And Heupel still, I mean, if he wanted to, he could have put over 100 points on this team. So
right.
As much as shit as he got for the onside kick, it could have been worse.
Well, the alternative is worse, Shane. You've lived through the Pruitt era,
Yep.
the Dooley era, Butch Jones, on and on and on. And instead of those were the days you were getting tagged with Joe Adams making 11 people miss. Now you're getting tagged in. You tell your coach to stop scoring, a la Steve Spurrier back in the day. It's got to be a lot nicer reality.
Hey, we paid them $1.3 million. We got our money's worth, Mike.
Yeah. All right, Shane. So, hey, last thing we love to do here, week 4, opening lines. Cousin Shane's going to guess the opening line. We got some ball games, Shane, finally. We got some really good games this weekend, starting with College game day, Tennessee at Oklahoma. What do you think the point spread is for this bad boy?
I don't know, man. But let me have Tennessee 11.
6. Tennessee favored by just 6.
Damn, come on now.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Oklahoma's got an elite home field. All right, how about Arkansas at Auburn?
Arkansas at Auburn. Auburn 3.
Oh, nailed it. I thought that'd be closer to a touchdown, but it is 3.
Yeah, that's going to be good. Seriously, I feel like that's a coin toss football game right there.
All right, how about this one, Shane? Vanderbilt at Missouri.
Oh, Mizzou 29.
Oh, he said 19. But still, yeah, that's actually closer than I honestly thought.
Yeah, they got a lot of respect for Vanderbilt still.
How about Florida at Mississippi State?
Ooh, Florida 13.
6.
Golly. Come on now.
How about UCLA at LSU?
If Florida doesn't have Billy Napier, what would you put the line at?
Florida -10.
Okay. I'm sorry. What was the next one?
UCLA at LSU.
LSU 13.
21.
Damn.
I'm telling you, that ain't going to be a game here.
No.
Kind of like Georgia Southern at Ole Miss.
Ole Miss 49.5.
30.
Oh, no. That may be
they're
my lock.
anticipating them taking all the starters out, I guess. How about Akron at your South Carolina Gamecocks?
South Carolina 31.
Ooh, close. 27.
Okay.
How about Ohio at Kentucky?
Kentucky 20.
15.
Oh, they punted.
How about Bowling Green? Bowling Green at Texas A&M.
Texas A&M 29.
22.
Okay.
Maybe more when Marcel Reed gets the nod. ULM at Texas.
Texas 38.5.
42. And no halves. That's it for that, Shane.
Oh, all right, man.
I'm going through our donations here, though, but
yeah.
didn't know. Appreciate you, cousin Kyle. Didn't know LSU had black and white jerseys. Go Gamecocks. He's talking about the rest. That was a good one. Hey, cuz, absolutely love the channel and Shane, cousin Blueberry Jay. Appreciate you,
thanks,
Blueberry.
Cuz.
No mention of me.
I love
there.
blueberries too.
How about cousin Marcus says, "Hey, how about that onside kick up 30-0?" Go.
Hey, there it is.
Cousin Cardock, he says, "Add this to the Billy buyout fund." To be honest, they're probably just waiting on the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
And then shout out cousin Todd. Do you think the Gamecocks make a bowl game?
Yes.
Let's throw that schedule up one more time. So you think for sure they're getting a 6?
Yeah, I obviously Akron between A&M and Oklahoma. I think there's a win there.
Wofford for sure.
Yeah, Wofford, and I think Clemson. I think Clemson's. I think it's becoming apparent that they are going to be the better football team. That's not going to be an upset if they win that game. Dabo gets fired right after it. They're going to say, take your khakis and get the hell out of here.
All right, buddy. So anything else before we hop off the line?
No, again, tremendous seeing everybody out there. Again, being so kind, and it was just awesome. Got to talk to a lot of fans, but I got to talk to them. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that we wanted this show to be. This is a family ran show. This is cousins. That's why we call you cousins. So every one of my cousins out there in South Carolina, thanks for treating me with respect, and my daughter as well. You know, we had an awesome time. So I look forward to getting to more of these football games. I know you're going to Oklahoma.
Right.
We will both be going to Columbia, Missouri coming up, potentially a Tennessee game. So again, we're going to be trying to get more and more involved and see you guys, because without you, we wouldn't have the show. So appreciate everything you guys did for us, and I hope you had an awesome weekend. I know South Carolina fans probably didn't, but hey, buddy, I think walking away from that football game, you realize after this weekend that not any team is untouchable. The Georgia Bulldogs fought for their lives. You know, South Carolina, a team that people like me had them down the dumps. They're now right there putting a top 16 team up against the ropes, and probably should have won. So no team is invincible this year.
Oh, hey, I forgot to ask, though. Did you make it to the chicken place?
No, I stopped at Waffle House, man. That was it. That was my final stop, man. I am going to reach out to them, and I appreciate. And I meant to reach out to them earlier. We didn't do an event, and it's nothing that I don't want to do an event. It's just I wanted to see everybody. I wanted to, I went to some fancy tailgates, brother, some top shelf stuff, and then I went to some damn duct tape tents, which I'm all for as well. And I had fun at all of them. There wasn't a bad tailgate spot down there in South Carolina. So even the fairground guys, I couldn't figure out how to get behind the fence. They're all at the fence. We're like inmates, I guess they let them out right at right at kickoff, but it was pretty damn cool down there.
Yeah, no, so obviously I've been to Norman just the once, but I'm excited to see what their tailgate scene is like.
Yeah.
I've already got a local pizza and brewery place offering free pizza and free beer. So
come on, man.
I know I'm going to be down there for sure, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. You know what?
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. And I look forward, like I said, just seeing different places. I've not got, I feel like though, if it's a game day, it automatically should be shifted to late. There's no reason. I felt like I got robbed a little bit of the tailgate experience because, it's still like 8, 9, 10 o'clock. I'm not opposed to drinking beer that early, but, an all-day event would have been a lot cooler. And I think that, I guarantee if you would have flexed that game, South Carolina would have won by 2 scores.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, I appreciate you. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to be previewing all week long. Cannot wait for. The season just keeps getting better and better each week. You know what?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And yeah, the cupcakes are ending. Unfortunately, we're going on a diet. We're getting to the meat of this thing. So, yeah, I'm ready for some closer football games. And this is when it starts mattering, man. This is where we start separating some of these teams.
Yep. Well, all right, buddy. You have a great night. We'll catch each and every one of you on the next one.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols. Tennessee just scored again.